The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want their weapon.
You have to wake yourself up.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
Alright, I'm out in the garage at 3 in the morning, and I want to talk about some stuff before we get into the meat of this video. If you're new to this channel, this is an ongoing series of experiments that started from the beginning and we're at where we're at now. So if you come here, watch one video, I've said it before, but it's like watching season 4 episode 6 of The Walking Dead and then thinking you've got the show figured out. And there's another thing I will say, like mystery skin something, whatever, and somebody will jump in and go, that's Morgellons. Look, I'm avoiding keywords so that my channel maintains intact. I only drop keywords once in a while. For the most part, I either have my own keywords that I make up, or I keep them peppered in there very little, just to let other people know that the channel is out there. Another thing is, during the last couple videos where we talked about ELF and the Schumann resonance, that doesn't change anything about my past videos. They're still doing the exact same things. They don't need satellites. They don't need things that they need to keep aloft. They can bounce these signals from cell towers and antennas off the ionosphere and hit everywhere that propagates on the power lines and piggybacks on cell and Wi-Fi signals and the power lines, and do everything that we've talked about and work within the Schumann resonance as well. And there's a big difference between what we're doing on this channel. We are testing our way along with science. So anyway, here's what I want to get at tonight. It is, it's 3 in the morning. It's 2:59. I'm going to turn on this recorder. As you can hear, listen for a minute. There's nothing going on. I'm going to turn this off, actually. There's a little bit of hum from my stereo hookup in here. Listen for a minute. There's nothing. Alright? Now, I'm going to hit record on this. Look at the low tones. Do you see all that being recorded? This is a phone that isn't connected. It is on airplane mode. Now that's going to get into what I want to get into in the house. It's getting into ELF, Schumann resonance, and everything everybody talks about. There's people that used to say back in the day, these guys have these cannons pointed at my house, and they're heterodyning these frequencies, and they're causing tinnitus and causing all these symptoms. And I would ask them, what happens when you leave the house? And they would say, well, I still get it. And I would say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Don't you see that it doesn't make any sense? If somebody has a physical object pointed at their house, they would have to follow them around with this device and keep it on them the whole time. That's why the whole idea behind audio spotlight and all that shit doesn't make any sense, because they would have to keep it pointed at you the entire time and not lose track of you. It's impossible. They would have to find you out in the middle of the woods somewhere. It's impossible. We have to be rational here, and you have to use facts. So, check this out. And now I'm going to show you how they create tinnitus with ELF. ELF can cause tinnitus. I'm going to show you how the tones are actually created with just ELF. And one more thing, to prove what's in the air and that these metal particles, fungus, graphene, all this shit is in the air that's making it conductive. Let's throw a laser out and then focus on it. Do you see those reflections? Those are particles. It's not moisture. It's not anything else. You can see this in your house too. But it's just as bad outside as it is inside. See that? That's graphene, metals, everything that they put in the air. And it's everywhere. And it doesn't matter how high or how low you go. I will point it up and you can see it going right into the tree. See that? It doesn't matter how high you go. It is still there. So this is from the atmosphere, up in the atmosphere, all the way down to the ground. It's on everything. So it's not just you that's been attacked with something. This is everywhere. Everything is being monitored. I want to show you 4 ELF tones. This is from 7 hertz, nothing above 10 hertz. Now these are all inaudible tones. You can't hear them by themselves until you put them together, and then they create some noise. Now, check this out. I'm going to play these together. Interesting, right? Now, here's the important part of this. When you put these 4 tones together and then mix them down, they create one file. I'm going to show that to you. This is a spectral view of these 4 ELF tones put together. I'll play it for you again so you can hear it. But if you look, these heterodyned beat frequencies have created very audible tones. This is all very audible with the human ear. Now, what's even more important about this is if you look at these lines, there's lines there, there's lines all across here, constant lines. These are all tinnitus type frequencies from 5,000 hertz all the way up to 20,000 hertz. Like I said before, I'm going to stay away from kilohertz and all that and just go with hertz because it's easier for people to understand. From 5,000 hertz to 20,000 hertz, there are tinnitus frequencies that we've got around 68, 6,900, above 8,000, between 9 and 10,000, 11,000, a faint one at 12,000, one just under 14,000, one just over 15,000. These are tinnitus type frequencies that if you heard them in your ear would sound strangely like crickets, cicadas, tones, things that people have complained about. Now I'm going to show you something. When I take 2 of these and I isolate them and kick up the volume. Here is one of those tinnitus tones. It's around 8250, 8,250 hertz. And what I've done is isolate it and pump up the volume on it. Now I want you to hear this because this is what people hear. And this is just from ELF alone, banging into each other. Here we go. Okay, now I want you to hear 6,900 hertz. There's the tinnitus tone that was in the file. Pumped it up. Listen to this. Now, I'm going to take these and put them together. Right here, we have the 2 tinnitus frequencies. I'm going to let them play for a little while. ELF created this. Basically, ELF consisting of the Schumann resonance and other tones added in to fuck it up, created these tinnitus tones. Science. Listen to them. I guarantee you that if I isolated each one of these different ones that was in the original file, I could find your tinnitus tones. They are in there. They are being created by these ELF waves. This is proof. I'm not guessing at it. I'm not making things up. So we have Schumann resonance subverted. It's coming in on the power grid. It's creating tinnitus as well as everything else. And if this doesn't prove it to you, I don't know what else will. So when people hear tinnitus, whether they think it's artificial or not, it is most likely being caused by this. If you listen back and go back and listen to it, it was reacting with the 60 hertz interference that I'm getting on my microphone. Now that we have these tinnitus frequencies at, 60, 68, 6900, and 8250, and they've been amplified, I'm going to play them together with these ELF tones and see if they create anything that starts to resemble V2K. Let's listen. Listening back, that's exactly what it did. Is what it sounds like to me is it's starting to form what sounds like these syllables and whatnot, because there is an external source of noise that is waiting for noise like this to ride on. It's parasitic sound, so to speak. So we have these parasitic sounds in our atmosphere, in our surroundings, and by creating this, we can amplify that parasitic sound and prove it to people. So the test will do that. This will do that. We can recreate V2K by adding the tinnitus, which is the noise bed. So it's sort of the white, pink, brown noise, so to speak, for people to hear V2K mixed with the ELF that is constantly in our atmosphere and our surroundings. So that's what's going on. So you can kind of look at it this way. You have this ELF that is constantly around us, that's coming through on smart meters, on the power grid, from cell signals, from Wi-Fi signals, etc. And what that is going to do is going to cause tinnitus, artificial tinnitus type symptoms in people who have been sensitized. Okay, so you've been sensitized, and then suddenly you start hearing this tinnitus, which lays down the sound bed. Then once you start getting pulsed with the ELF after you've been sensitized and you're already hearing this tinnitus tone, then words can be formed. Because as you heard in the playback, which I'll play again, you can sort of get this generic type formation of syllables and broken radio chatter, it almost sounds like. So you can kind of control with ELF, after the person is being nailed with tinnitus, what is being said to them or sent to them, so to speak. So let's play it one more time just to check it out and give you a better understanding of it. And then if you want to put on headphones and listen, or through good speakers, do that. Don't listen to it on your phone if you're listening and looking for evidence. Here it is, the last time I'm going to play it. I'll play like a minute of it. Y2K pulsing of the Earth through Schumann resonance subversion and sensitization. Look out for Charlie.